With the first roll pick, the New York Islanders would like to select from the Erie Otters of the Ontario Hockey League, Matthew Schaefer, defenseman. If I'm the Islanders, I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the rumors with Dobson and I'm saying, well, Schaefer's there. He's the generational guy in this draft. He's the guy that's everyone's got number one. And you just don't overcomplicate a pick like this. You need more reinforcements on the defense. You have a stacked defensive core if you keep Dobson and you add Schaefer to that. And I really just don't see a world with the new management taking over. They take a risk that Schaefer ends up being this great guy, and they miss out on him for Misa. So with my pick, Matthew Schaefer is off the board at one.
I completely agree. I think that is exactly what's going to happen. You see this incredible spreadsheet, like I said, Matthew Schaefer. You could see his what kind of person he is, what kind of player he is, his skating, shooting, passing. So that's going to be a great pick, like you said, Noah Dobson. And then at number two, who are the Sharks going to take?
With the second overall pick, the San Jose Sharks are proud to select from Saginaw of the OHL, Michael Misa. I think, obviously, my personal opinion, Michael Misa is the best player in this draft. I think you look at the numbers and the numbers speak for itself. 62 goals, 75 assists in only 65 games. He got exceptional status for a reason. The point totals just speak for themselves because that's the most in a draft eligible player since John Tavares, and that's actually who I believe he's going to become in this league. And he's also got some hardware. I know that this year he didn't play that well in the playoffs, but he did win the Memorial Cup when Saginaw hosted it last season. So I think the easy choice here, it's the home run pick. Now you got a 1-2 is celebrating in Misa, and I think that's pretty dangerous for the Western Conference.
Love that pick. Not for the Blackhawks, obviously, but for everybody else, I think that's what all scouts are saying right now. For number three, for the Chicago Blackhawks, I am up here, and I think that they are going to take Porter Martone. I love this guy. I've said James Haggins a ton. I've said Dave Nourier, even though he could be going back to the queue, like we talked about early. But Porter Martone's skating woos are a little overblown. It's his first three strides. It takes him a while to get going. I compare him to like an old-timey car or like a lawnmower. Once you get him geared up, he's going to be able to get you to point A to point B. Really great shot, great playmaker, has great vision. I think he would be fantastic, fantastic with Connor Bedard. I would love to see that Corey Perry-esque player without the meanness on his line. Kyle Davidson went out and got Corey Perry for a reason. Why not draft the next coming of him? Maybe not, like I said, as mean, but you're getting a really talented kid. Obviously, we're going to see what he weighs in at and his height, but at 6'2.75", which is basically 6'3", as well as 208 pounds, he's pretty filled out. So I think this would be an awesome pick.
I'm going from Djurgården, Anton Frondell. He has that power game, and I think he would play really well with Clayton Keller and a Cooley. He's just that setup guy, right? Like Cooley can find him for the one-timer on the flank. And that's like Cooley's a play driver. Like, and I think Bedard's a play driver, and that's why he would be a good fit too here. But yeah, I think and Armstrong likes his big guys. So I could also see like Brady Martin here, kind of a reach pick, but yeah.
Brady Martin is going to go a lot higher in the draft than anybody, in my opinion, basically of what the scouts on the internet are saying rather than what's actually going to happen and what is actually in scouting departments. Because Brady Martin, it's playoff hockey. That dude can hit. But to go to your Frondell pick, one of the best shooters in the entire class, has really good vision. His transition game is going to improve, going from the SHL, which is the bigger rinks, to the American hockey rink. It's just going to get a lot better. So I really like this pick for the Mammoths. I know firsthand that they like him a lot because their agent actually CC'd me on a bunch of Utah Hockey Club emails on accident. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
He also has a May birthday. Like, he's like 7 months younger than Martone.
Does actually. Yeah. It's just more on basically upside too. So that's a really good point, Danny. And then at 5, here's the charts. Maxwell, please follow him too. I'm gonna drop all of the links of everyone on here on X. So go ahead and follow them. But we have CG, who I actually met at the Blackhawks game, the United Center. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a great time. It was a great time. Lovely meeting you. I think I think they're going to go forward. Best available at the time, whether it be Frondell, Hagens, or Denoyer. I think I saw like Jake O'Brien is maybe a dark horse for him too. Just they seem to be a team that likes a little bit of size, but I'm going to go with Hagens here. I think NCAA prospect. I think the reason he's kind of falling in people's mind is he's been the number one pick for so long. It's been what, 2 years maybe, where he was the best player in this class. I think people got a little tired of him. I think he's still a top tier player, even if guys like Schaefer and Misa have passed him up in the public. And I just love NCAA players. I think it's the best place for any prospect to develop right now, and I think it will be in the future. We see that with all the guys committing, and Hadrian's being able to play there in his draft eligible year, it's going to be huge for him.
Yeah, I like that pick. I think it's going to be Haggins as well if he falls. I think these are the best 5 players in the class. Some people have Day Norier, obviously, but Second City, who are you taking at number 6 overall?
So I believe the Philadelphia Flyers are going to take Day Norier with this pick. I think they could use a center. I think the size is good. I'm not a big fan of him playing in the queue, and I think he's going to be playing there next season, which isn't great. But still, I think he's one of the better players available in the spot, and he's a natural center, so I think he makes sense here.
I like Day Norier, one of the best defensive forwards in the entire NHL draft. He's kind of Selke-esque upside. I mean, Mikheyev just got a 5th vote for Selke, so you never know if Day Norier can, because I think obviously at the time he's a better defensive player or prospect at their same age. So obviously he has a lot of offensive upside too. He was just named captain of the Mon-Cats next year, and I think that's why there's a lot of noise about him staying in the queue. I hope he doesn't. I really hope he doesn't. It's so hard to evaluate these guys in the queue, but tough time in the Memorial Cup. But at Mac is now Hattie. The change has happened. So can you tell us who they're going to take 7 for the Boston Bruins?
All right, the 7th overall pick. The Boston Bruins, the losers of the 2013 Stanley Cup, are very pleased to select Jake O'Brien.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of upside there. Tell me a little bit about Jake O'Brien, Hattie.
Just everything. I think he's just a perfect fit for Boston, honestly. Just everything they're looking for.
O'Brien is a really good passer every single time.
He just seems
puck
like a
is flat.
Boston pick. Him and Day Noyer, I would have taken him too.
Totally valid.
Who would you rather have on the Blackhawks, O'Brien or Day Norier?
Oh boy.
I'd rather
boy.
have Day Noyer, honestly.
I
Just not
agree.
at third. Just not at third.
Even if he's going,
Like if we got Day Noyer, I would want like Martin at third and Day Noyer at like 7th.
I like the way you think.
Like that's how I'd want it.
Maxwell brought up a good point. Even if he's back in the queue next year, you taking Day Norier?
I feel like only 1, maybe even 2 players are even going to play in the NHL next year.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Like
Maybe 0.
I honestly only 100% think Misa will play. I don't even know if Schaefer will make it.
No way.
That wouldn't be a problem, honestly.
Gabe Foley has a lot of sources, and he, on my last mock draft with him, he told me that Matthew Schaefer is going to go to the NCHC conference in the NCAA. So obviously it would be really cool to see him. Everybody's going to the NCAA. McKenna has a $1 million offer right now at MSU. So
Wild.
holy moly. That NIL deal or money is crazy. At 8, who are the Seattle Kraken taking?
Tough.
With the 8th overall pick, the Seattle Kraken are proud to select from Djurgårdens, Stockholm, Sweden, Victor Eklund.
Boy, that's a great pick. That's a great pick. Tell me
It's a
about
fun one.
Victor Eklund here.
What I see in Victor Eklund is a really nice two-way forward, a guy who can really score some goals. With this pick, I'd imagine Berkeley Catton just setting up Eklund for a nice 1-2 on the power play. 2 guys that are really going to complement each other. Seattle's in a bit of a retool rebuild, and I think another really nice forward that could play 200-foot game and score some goals is going to be really beneficial.
That was really well said. Give this guy an Oscar, honestly. At 161 pounds, Victor Eklund has so much room to grow. He does not look like someone that's 161 pounds. I mean, that is 0 muscle development right there. And he's been playing with grown men in the SHL. I think he's more NHL ready than a lot of these other players. Like Michael Branson-Nygaard kind of comes to mind when I talk about NHL readiness. And I think Victor Eklund is by far and away a better player with a higher floor. I see star upside with him. He drove play with Anton Frundell all year. In my opinion, every game I watched Anton Frundell, I was like, wow, Victor Eklund's doing it all and just setting him up. Kind of like Jake O'Brien with Nick Lardis, even though Nick Lardis showed a lot more than I love Anton Frundell. Don't get me wrong, not at 3, but I would just say Victor Eklund did help his stats out a little bit and was driving the play. Not that Anton Frundell can't do that, because I think he can for sure, and his shot is elite, but Victor Eklund really played well. So I really like that. A lot of people are saying Cup could go here or Jackson Smith, but I really would like to see the highest upside forward here for Seattle too. So that's a good pick. But Maxwell, the guy with the spreadsheet, incredible spreadsheet here. Who are you taking with the Sabres at 9?
I thought long and hard about this. Got a couple options. I want a defenseman. Would 9 be the place to first defenseman off the board? I don't know. We guys, we should have had the whole draft sound, like the pick is in sound. Someone should have been having that this whole time. But okay. Here's the thing. I have a trade to announce.
Oh my.
Oh,
The Buffalo Sabres are trading picks 9 and 73 in this year's draft to the New York Islanders in exchange for Jesse Pulkkinen and Noah Dobson.
Holy moly.
Wow.
Wow, that's-
Blockbuster.
All right. So
New York, you are on the clock.
now this is my pick. So with the 9th overall selection, the New York Islanders are very proud to select Roger McQueen coming to Long Island.
There we go.
I'm shocked over the trade. I
What
don't
happened?
I don't know
What
how
just
Maxwell
happened?
lost his pick there.
It was for the content. I don't need a pick.
That's awesome. Roger McQueen, highest upside in the NHL draft, right-handed 6'5" center, so you develop him in a lab. But can you explain this pick for the Sabres or for the Islanders?
Yeah, so if I'm the Islanders, you're bringing in Schaefer number 1. You've got that taken care of. And now you're starting the new age, whether you want to retool on the fly, whether you want to fully rebuild. Now you got your future franchise forward in Roger McQueen as well. Whether he's franchise or whether he's just a top 6 guy for the future, I have really, really high expectations for him in the NHL. And I think, if you got that talent at number 8 still, you just can't pass that up. So, yeah.
Should we go Maxwell here then again? Or would it be
We could.
back
I
to
didn't
back
really think.
Blackhawks?
I wasn't thinking about. Is it Anaheim up? Yeah.
Yeah, go for Anaheim now. So Maxwell's going to be
Just
10.
switch
Yeah.
picks.
Yeah, we got it. So who do you want me to? So I'm
Go
here
for
and who?
Ovi and do Ovi for
DK,
DK.
yeah.
Ovi, DK, and then what was the other one? Mac,
Mac Hattie. Just swap them.
Hattie in for Mac.
And then while you're at it, Max, I see that Cowboys misspelled on one. I think 1 and 19. And
Coy boys.
the other-
I think we're gonna keep it Coy Boy. Where's the other Mac? This was gonna be Hattie.
34.
Yeah, playing Coy. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Who's taking?
Don't call me
Okay.
the best GM for no reason.
Okay. 10 overall.
Who's David?
Last year, Anaheim was kind of hoping Artyom Levshinov was going to be there at 3. That was their guy. This year, it's still kind of the same. They need a mobile, right shot, large, puck-moving defenseman. And Radim Murka could be that. And they have a lot of success turning all these defensemen into something. I think they're going to bet on Murka again. You know what I mean. Let's see. Let's bring him up here. 6 foot 5 3/4 inches. Over 200 pounds already. Still quite a bit of weight to gain. Probably 30 pounds, honestly. He's going to be great. Actually, I don't really believe that. I don't know why I said that. He might not be. I don't know, man.
Call it how you sell it.
Yeah, Merca is a big.
He has questions, but he's exciting. I do think. I mean, it's hard to look amazing in Seattle, but he got like 30 minutes a night. He improved a fair number of things, so it's something worth betting on. EP has his skating at 4.5. I think that might be underselling it a little. I don't think it's fair to call his skating the projection of his skating. I don't think it's fair to call it below average. I think it could end up being above average. And hey, we'll see if he goes at NCAA next year too.
I was surprised to see that 4.5 in the red is skating. That was
Yeah.
the first thing that I saw. I was like, well, he said that he needs to improve his skating, but his player comp was Moritz Seider, and I really like that. So if you're getting a Moritz Seider,
That was the comp he gave for himself. That's who he basically. Yeah.
what do you think about that?
I like it. Hard not to like that.
Of course. And then at 11 for Pittsburgh.
I'm kind of pissed, not gonna lie. I was gonna take Radim Murka at 11 for Pittsburgh because I think that just fits like a glove. But I think just looking at Pittsburgh's prospects, what they've done the last few years, I think it's hard not to take a defenseman here, and I'm going to take the best defenseman on the board. Give me Penn State commit Jackson Smith at 11. I think Jackson Smith, especially now going into the NCAA compared to the WHL, I think it's going to be way better for his development. And you look at all the forward prospects that Pittsburgh owns right now. You got guys like Rucker McGroarty, guys like Cruz Lucius, Ponomarayev, and Tanner Howe. I don't think you really see a transcending defenseman just like Jackson Smith. I get that they have, holes that they need to fill with Crosby and Malkin over the next couple of years. potentially moving on, but I think for sure someone to move on the left pair to learn under Chris Letang. I don't see how you can't love Jackson Smith at 11.
Great pick. Big, 6'3". Kind of got a little hate for when I called him a Kevin Korchinski-esque player. It wasn't towards Jackson Smith in any way. I think that his offense is there. I think he can quarterback a power play, but I think that this guy needs to stay in the WHL longer than Korchinski did. It's nothing against him. I just don't want him to have a Corch type of a scenario that happens. This guy is really skilled. Like I said, he's really big, 6'3", almost a half. He put up very productive numbers, kind of not as productive as you wanted to see an offensive defenseman as well in the WHL, but the guy is very skilled. So this was a great pick. Great pick. And I think going to Penn State's really going to help him. That Penn State team is loaded. They have Luke Misa. They might get Porter Martone. That is what everybody is hearing. Porter Martone has over a $250,000 NIL deal offer there. So unless he gets poached, it kind of seems like they are going to take him too. So Penn State is going to be very fun. I am definitely going to meet my guy Link at New Wave Hockey out there for a game this season. So Penn State's awesome. And then I have the Rangers, which I've actually never picked the Rangers in a mock draft because usually it's the Pittsburgh Penguins here because they have that condition. But I actually think that they're going to run for Carter Bear here. It should be Brady Martin. It really should. But I love Carter Bear. I think that his Achilles injury obviously is going to tank his draft stock slightly. He could have been contending for a top 10 pick, but this guy's a hard skill. The skating isn't what he's known for. It's not like he's a Colin Potter where a lacerated Achilles is going to affect his future, in my opinion. I think it's going to affect him slightly, but it's not his whole game. When you look at Carter Bear, he's somebody that is going to use his skill. He has a great backhand, and like he said hard skill about 4 or 5 times in the interview that I did with him, and he said that his pro comp was Brandon Hagel. If you're getting a Brandon Hagel on this Rangers team, that's really awesome. Like I just really like everything about Carter Bear. He's very down to earth too.
And hey, I mean, I'm not going to speculate on where his draft stock is until we get a little information from the combine in the next few days. Everything I've heard is that it's his Achilles injury, the rehabbing is progressing quite well. So
yes.
He could still go top 10.
He's actually skating already, and he's going to be which is crazy, but he's skating and he's already going to be participating in a lot of activities over the summer. So he dodged a bullet. Like when I asked him, he actually smiled about his, I'm not sure how many people, I think I was like the first public interview after the injury, and it shocked me how excited he was to talk about it, because it seemed like it wasn't that he was obviously upset because he was missing the playoffs, but it was about the playoffs that he was missing, not about what it's going to do to his overall career. So that guy dodged a bullet. I really like Carter Bear's game. But at 13, we got my boy DK coming on, saving the stream. But for the Red Wings, who are you taking?
The Red Wings love their Swedes. But I think I'm going to take the defenseman here, Kayshawn Aitchison. I think he's a dog. And I think just him with Sider is really tantalizing. I feel just able to throw these big hits and bring the offense. I think their top 4 is set in the future there with Edvinsson and Stanton, Pelika, and Sider. And I feel like they've taken so many forwards the last couple of years in the first round. Danielson, Nygaard, Casper. So yeah, I like this pick. I think it could be Martin too, but I just feel he brings a different element to their blue line, and I wouldn't be surprised if he goes higher, honestly. I think he had the most overtime goals in the OHL for defenseman or something like that, or game-winning goals. So he
had 26.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, hey, they've picked the same player 3 years in a row, so it might be time to change things up a bit.
Yeah. So yeah, I like him there.
That's a really good pick. I really was shocked when I opened up FanDuel and looked at who was the third odds for the Blackhawks pick, and Kayshawn Aitchison was around there. And I was like, what is a polar bear doing in Arlington? Like that meme. I was like, what is that at? So I was shocked. I think Kayshawn Aitchison is going to go a lot higher than a lot of people thought and have talked about. So this is a great pick, Danny. I really like that. Very good pick. Shane Van Sage.
Hang on.
Get that man on the Blackhawks third or fourth line. No, but Kayshawn Aitchison is very good. Yeah, look at his stats there. 26 goals, 33 assists. And then look at in the playoffs, he was pretty productive as well. He was more productive than, I know it's the WHL, but OHL, but a guy like Jackson Smith. So take that for what you will, but that's really interesting based on the game he kind of plays. Maybe it's not as translatable, but those 26 goals is absolutely incredible, especially in the OHL, in my opinion.
Yeah, he doesn't have to be the guy there either,
Yeah,
Sider and
for
Edmondson.
sure.
I think he's a good complement to them.
That'll be an incredible top four. But for 14, we have the Columbus Blue Jackets. Who are you taking here, CG?
So my first thought was if Carter Bear does tend to slide, which it's not looking like that anymore, there's no way he gets past Columbus. We saw last year they don't really care about drafting an injured player. They're willing to take that risk, do that rehab themselves. So I really think that if Carter Bear does slide, I'd be shocked if he got past Columbus, even though I don't know if that's necessarily their need. They have a lot of young forwards. I might just stick with another NCAA player and go Logan Hensler. Right D, a guy you could pair with Wierenski in the future. I just think, I mean, 6'2", 196, I believe, height and weight. Like he's a bigger guy still. I think he'll get the job done. And again, same as I said for Hagens. And what we saw with Rinzel this year with the Hawks, guys come from the NCAA to the NHL, and now they're just ready. They might not be studs right away. You're not going to get a guy like how Rinzel kind of took the league by storm, in my opinion, as soon as he came. But they're serviceable. They will be defensively reliable to an extent, and I just think Logan Hensler is a great right-handed shot defenseman that they take here.
This is a really good pick. Logan Hensler was the second youngest player, first youngest player on his team, but under U19 defenseman, he had the highest point per game, and he played fantastic. I think it was kind of the wrong decision to go to the NCAA this early, but it kind of hurt his draft stock from being a top 5-6 player. His player comp that he told me was a right-handed Jake Sanderson. I love that pick. I think he has a little more offensive upside than he. Yep, I really do like that. I think the offensive upside is there. He just didn't show it as much. So nice. Models his game after Jake Sanderson. I really like Logan Hensler, but to go to second city for Vancouver at 15, that was great, CG. But going to 15, who are you taking?
So with the 15th overall pick, the Vancouver Canucks are proud to select from the Sioux Greyhounds of the OHL, Brady Martin. I'm a big fan of Brady Martin. I love his physical game, his two-way game. He's got skill as well. I think Vancouver would be ecstatic if they get him at 15.
Habs fans are crying right now. They are crying. Can you imagine Brady Martin on the Habs? But yeah, Vancouver lucks out. You get a guy that's falling. I really like Brady Martin. He's 170 pounds, 172, I think, but he hits like he's 400. But yeah, Brady Martin's a really good pick here.
Yeah, with this offseason with Vancouver and stuff, obviously there's the Quinn Hughes drama. You don't really know how the team's going to end up looking next season. I think Martin is really as safe a pick as you can get in this draft.
Well, like if Kayshawn Aitchison was still there, or Logan Hensler, or someone like that, like the defense kind of flew off the board there. So yeah, you can't really take the next tier of defenseman. Maybe a Cameron Reid, maybe a Blake Fiddler, but I just don't think that that's like a viable option when you have a Brady Martin there. So that was a really good pick, just based on value. But for 16, we have the first Habs pick, and that's to Hattie. Hattie with the Habs.
All right. So I agree with CG what he was saying about the NCAA development, and this could be a surprise or not. This guy, I feel like on mock drafts is all over the place. I'm gonna go with Malcolm Spence. Got decent size on him. Think he'll probably sit second, third line. If you come out with, I think, just give him another year in the NCAA could turn out to be quite a steal.
Love Malcolm Spence. He told me that his player comp for himself was Carter Verhaeghe. I really like that. Carter Verhaeghe, you can see what he's doing in the playoffs. Very cool player. Him and Matthew Schaefer were really good friends too. So I like that pick, Hattie.
Thank you, Italian brethren.
Thank you. Do you have anything else to add on Spence, or should we go to Chicago Sufferer 17?
No, I think I'll just focus on the Chicago pick I got coming up.
Nice, for sure. All right, Sufferer at 17. Who you taking with the second Montreal Canadiens pick?
With the 17th overall pick from Blaine Villebois and Armada from the QMJHL. Apologies if I botched that. Justin Carbonneau.
Tell me a little bit about his game.
Carbonneau, total power forward. This guy's really good playmaker. Montreal just came off of a surprising playoff appearance, in my opinion. And honestly, I thought their top six was kind of exposed. It wasn't up that great. They couldn't really compete that well with the big dogs and the Caps. And I think this dude is gonna fit right in, whether he's middle six, top six, whatever. I think he's gonna translate to the NHL really well.
Yeah, very well said. One of the best shooters in the entire class. This guy might be the best shooter up there with Anton Frandel, and I just want to add Anton Frandel's name up there again because he is an incredible shooter, and I don't think people are talking about that as much. But this guy can shoot at any angle. He could be on the floor shooting, and it'll be top shelf. So I think Carbonneau is just that kind of guy that Habs fans would fall in love with. But for Maxwell at 18, we got the Calgary Flames. Who are you taking here?
Okay, I was thinking Carbon though. Let's go with Blake Fiddler's kind of tempting, but I think I'm gonna go with Lyndon Lakovic.
Love
We're
it.
gonna go Lyndon Lakovic for the Flames here. I definitely think they're gonna prefer a forward here. I was considering Braden Coots, but might be a little too early for some NHL teams. Lakovic, the way I see it, he's definitely on track to be an NHLer. I think he has a pretty decent floor, but I guess everyone's asking him to use his body better. And this NCAA route option that's now opened up may force him to do that sooner. And I think that's going to be really healthy for his game. Kind of needing to use that for puck protection and separation and whatnot. Who's the, there was a Toronto player, really tall, lots of potential, but he was criticized for never using his body like very well, and then got traded. I think it was with the Islanders.
Pierre Engvall.
Thank you. Yeah, Pierre Engvall. That's kind of maybe what some teams might look at that and be a little worried, but that kind of seems overblown. I think there's too much skill here, too much potential, too much runway to not bet on this.
Yeah,
Here.
Lyndon Lakovic was actually, I think he grew 6 inches in a summer, and he still doesn't really understand how to use his body. He told me that he is working very hard to try to do that. He feels like he's like a 5'10", 5'11" forward and a 6'4" body. He thinks that's a
awesome.
good thing. I also agree with that. When you have a guy like that, it's kind of Beckett Seneca-ish, and he went third overall. Lyndon Lakovic also was really great in that Koi Boy
I
at
think
19.
Cowboy at 19. All right, I'm not gonna lie. Lakovic, however you pronounce it, would have been perfect with St. Louis. He would have been perfect with St. Louis. They were getting bodied on the special teams the entire series. With the 19th overall pick, the St. Louis Blues are proud to select from Edmonton of the WHL. Hold up. Period. There you go. Blake Fiddler. When I look at St. Louis and I look at their future decor, I'm seeing a lot of age, but I'm also seeing a lot of youth. They're very around the spectrum. There are a lot of old guys, a lot of young guys. Colton Parayko is going to be in his mid to late 30s by the time his contract's up. By the time Fiddler would get to the NHL, most likely. Justin Falk's contract will be up by the time Fiddler gets to the NHL. And you look at guys like Broberg who are playing on the defensive pair, and he would just go ahead and slide in right there his rookie year probably, and it'll be a decor that'll be built, and it's being built, and it's almost completed, and I think he could be one of the missing pieces that St. Louis can help retool on the fly here as they unexpectedly decided to make the playoffs. So I think Fiddler could be the pick.
Nice.
Tough year for the Blues. The Blues lost that heartbreaker to the Winnipeg Jets with 1.7 seconds or 2 seconds left. Crazy game. Blake Fiddler is a fantastic player to get. 6'4", obviously, good defenseman. I think this would be really good for the Blues. I think it's just a safer play, not really a home run hit, but a safer play. But let's go to pick 20.
All right.
That would be good.
Pick 20. I think I'm gonna go a little bit off the board here. I think it helped having Hensler at 14 because that shores up their defensive core. But at the 20th overall pick, the Columbus Blue Jackets are proud to select from Prince George of the WHL, Joshua Ravensbergen.
I needed that.
And I don't think Jet Greaves can really be that guy that he was in the last 5 games of the year. So I think you're playing with house money here with the second pick. You could obviously trade down, but I think if you were to select it, I think you'd go Ravensbergen here.
Great pick, 6'5". One of the best goalies in the league, or in this class as well. I think there's a couple goalies that can contend, but you can't compete with that size. So that's a really good pick. I think Columbus is in the market for a goalie as well. I could see Columbus or Nashville both selecting goalies in the first round, so I like that a lot.
What's the earliest you guys could see him going off?
Probably here. maybe 21 to the Senators because I have no idea why they would have kept that pick
Yeah.
because they might lose their 2026 pick. But yeah, if I think Senators could take a goalie. I haven't heard anything on it, but I think Columbus right here would probably be the closest.
Right. So, I mean, everyone was asking for growth from him from last year to this year. I mean, the team in front of him was kind of trash, but point being, it's interesting. He seems to be falling out of conversation a little bit, but I definitely think someone could take him like earlier than this. Just wanting to bet on this.
I think Ivan Kovic is a better goaltender. I think he's
Okay.
just more athletic, cool, calm, and collective. He has what it takes to be a number one goalie. Ravensbergen does too, but I'm talking about at the 5'11" frame because if he's going to make it, he's going to succeed very, very well. There's only a couple 5'11" goalies that are actually thriving, and one is UC Saros, and that's kind of his player comp. But I think Ravensbergen will probably get drafted before, but I don't think he should.
Yeah, I don't think he'll go earlier than 20. I mean, this goalie class is so strong. As a Hawks fan, I think Ivan Kovic, if he falls to later in the second round, or even the Russian goalie, Andreyanov, I'm a big fan of both of those. I think the value of getting them later is better than the value of a first round pick on Ravensbergen, just in my opinion. I think this goalie class is very strong, which is weird in the middle of this weaker class. So I think it could shift one way or another. Like, yeah, I think Ravensbergen could go in the second now, or it really just ends on who's willing to take that first shot.
It's going to be an early second rounder. Like the targets are San Jose
Yeah.
at 33, Chicago at 34, and Nashville at 35 as well. If Nashville doesn't take one of them at 26, like there will be a goalie taken at 26. If none of them are. Nashville has said that they want to take a goalie in the first round. They've just said that. I don't know why they would. That makes no sense to say, but maybe it's because they're going to take an off the board player. Maybe it's because they want Ivan Kovic. I mean, they just traded Askarov. Maybe they recoup. But for 21, I have Ottawa here. And I think that they're going to smash and take Braden Coots here. The reason I say Braden Coots is I obviously think that this should be a higher upside play, but when you look at Ottawa, they don't really keep a lot of their young players. But the reason that they had probably kept this pick instead of 2026, like I had mentioned, is because they think that they could talk the league out and not suspend or not taking away the pick somehow. I don't think it's because they see real value here. There's a bucket of players that it could be, but I think Coots gives you the best opportunity for like a lower end 2C, high end C, and I feel like that would just be somebody that is really valuable for this team. He goes to like Chipotle every single day, which shows consistency right there. I've continued to say that. It's more of a joke, but I like how everything around him is hockey. 200-foot player. I think that he is a really good shooter. Captain Coots, I call him. Hockey Canada, he won gold. I think that this kid he has what it takes. I think that he's going to be a leader for an organization, and the Senators, if you take Coots, you're going to have him for the next 10, 15 years. I don't think he's leaving. So, point per game player in the dub, I think that this would be a smash pick. But for 22 for DK, who are you taking for Philly with their second first round pick?
Yes, they got NYA at their first pick here. I'm gonna go with Cole Reshny here. Stack up on another center. He's a smaller guy. He's going to North Dakota, right? That was just announced. He had a great U18s, 8 points in 5 games. Playoff, he had 25 points in 11 games. So I think this is a late riser. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he goes higher here. I think with him, Michkov can be really tantalizing as well. Like I think they can share a brain. Just with compete, I don't know if he's like the best skater, but I think Michkov's not the best skater either. His playmaking is top tier in this draft, I believe. They take the best player available here, and yeah, I think Reshny and Denwye, and then they could put Luchenko at 3C. They took him over Z Boyum last year. That was good. But yeah, no, I think they're 1, 2, 3 centers of the future.
Resny really rose his stock with his last 2 months of play. That dude was putting point totals up like Gavin McKenna. So I really like that DK. So for 23 CG, you have Nashville's second first round pick. Who are you going here?
I'd be surprised, honestly, if they keep this pick. I think they can package 23 and 26 to move up, unless they're waiting for a goalie. Maybe them saying that they're willing to draft a goalie with one of those two picks they have in the late is kind of daring Columbus to take Ravensburg in there. But I could see goalie. I think with Hagens going first, they're just such an old team right now that I think they just try to get prospects at as many positions as possible. I'd go best defenseman available for them, which I don't know if he'd be the best fit in Nashville, but I'm going to pick Cameron Reed here from Kitchener. I think he's a really great defenseman. Everything I've seen, which admittedly isn't that much, was he was a big factor on that Kitchener team that was pretty solid this year, I believe. So I like him a lot.
Yeah, I asked Jack Pridham, sorry. I asked Jack Pridham about what he saw in Reed, and he said that he helped the breakout passes. Like when he was on the ice, you just knew like it's a different type of player. And I feel like that's really important because he went from the BCHL to the OHL, and obviously Pridham should have had a worse season, but Cameron Reed actually helped his season because you always knew when you were getting the puck and the breakout speed that Jack Pridham had, he actually loved Reed. So I feel like teams that have fast players are actually going to love this kid. So I really like that. I really like this fit. So for 24, we have Second City. Who are you taking with the Kings?
So I think the Kings would take Milton Gastrin here. I hope I said that right. It's a
Yep.
Swedish name. So yeah, he's a very good skater. He's a two-way player. He could play center and on the wing, which I think is nice for them. Obviously, Anze Kopitar is getting a little bit older. I think Kempe's free agent this season. I think drafting a forward here makes sense and kind of an all-around player.
I like Milton Gashrin. He said that he watched Sidney Crosby and Alex Barkov. So I really like that. I really like this pick. He plays the right way with a really good motor, and he's been a leader for Sweden for a very long time. And then we have Hattie at 25. Who are you taking for the Blackhawks pick?
Do you guys think there's a pretty good chance they go one forward, one D, one goalie? Just hit them all?
Yes, I think
Yes.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with CG. I think if they don't use 23 and 26 to trade up for Ravensburgen, or somehow he magically falls to them at 23, I think they'll just fall back on whatever plan B is.
I mean, yeah, they're an old team. They need a lot of
Hey.
help.
No, I agree.
This was from Elite Prospects too. We're
Right.
going to go to 25 with Hattie. Who do you think the Blackhawks are going to take with their second first-round pick here?
All right. So if we didn't have a loaded decor, I'd honestly love Amico here. The guy I'm gonna go with, his dad replied to Ovi's tweet with a picture of him in a Blackhawks jersey.
No
I'm gonna
way.
go with Vaclav Nestersil. I don't know if that's how you say it. And
Close
I'm gonna
enough.
need Don to cover the analysis because I honestly don't know anything about this guy. Just that all Hawks fans want him.
Yeah. Okay, so Václav Nestrasil is awesome. 6'5". He didn't really have a lot of points last year. I think he played 8 games and had 0 points for Muskegon Lumberjacks, but this year he exploded. He was better than Ivan Ryabkin when he went to the USHL. He was probably the second best player on his team other than a 2026 eligible that I'll get into next year that I don't want to spoil. But the thing is, like, I got to talk to Václav and he was hilarious. He had 4 brothers that made it to, or that played hockey, and one of them that was a third-round pick to the Red Wings. His dad lives and breathes hockey too, and Václav has been around the rink since he was like 2 or 3 skating. He plays Fortnite. He lands at Tilted Towers. He loved my question. He said, I'll never forget it. We started cracking up that he can make me laugh. His dad likes every single Václav tweet I put out. I could say anything. I could just write the word Václav Nestrasil and he'll be the first person that likes it. I have no idea
Yeah.
how he does that.
Oh wait, was it you,
This-
Don, or was
No,
dad
it was
replied?
Ovi. It was
Yeah,
Ovi.
with
but-
the black.
Dude, I didn't know that at all. I love him
Have
as
to
a
find
player.
that.
It's so cool.
He's being so underrated right now, in my opinion.
100%. This dude was like
Well,
50.
personality.
That's true.
I think I inadvertently kind of started all the Nestor Shill talk in the Hawk spaces, and it's kind of taken off. So if he is the pick, I am going to take credit for some of this.
Give yourself a pat on the back.
So we're already
All right.
stealing Elite Prospects content.
I'm about to
What
send
I'm
the
gonna-
picture to Gooncast. Sorry for interrupting.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to read the first sentence from the first 3 scouting reports on Nestor Shield, the most recent ones. First one from Mitch Brown. It really seems like Nestor Shield has a penchant for big late game plays. Second one, Mitch Brown again. There's not much that Nestor Shield can't do. Third one, Sebastian High. Nestor Shield was a heat-seeking missile in this game with his eye on the puck. I don't know, pretty good.
I mean, he's a big body and he attempted a Michigan in a game. Like that says enough. I think he's got the hands, he's got the
Yeah.
skill, and Hawks could use some size.
It's like a sneaky skill. Everyone's going to look at him, think physicality, but there's some sneaky skill there. There's some defensive promise.
Yeah, and with the Hawks, in this draft we took Martone in this mock. You get Martone in this trade, so all of your top 6 concerns with sides are gone immediately.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's huge.
I love that.
Even
That's our whole right side.
Even if you take Haggins at 3, you take Haggins at 3, you get Nashville, it completely takes away all of that. And then look at who just expired their contracts today or yesterday, if you didn't see. It was Alex Ferrand and Marcel. Like that was 2 guys that were
2 of our only
size.
big boys.
Yeah. And what the heck was that? I mean, that kind of went under the radar, but we lost a ton of size. Obviously, they could probably re-sign and go to Rockford or whatever, but there's really no plan right now for what they're doing. So you can't really speculate. I know Dominic James also is going to walk. So obviously, the Blackhawks only have a certain amount of contracts that they can sign their people to, but getting somebody with the upside and the size that Nestor has is kind of the perfect fit. I've been saying this for a long time. I wanted to interview him because I thought he was going to be a Blackhawk. I just had it. It seems like his dad wants him to be a Blackhawk. It really does. I've never seen a dad so active in a community where his son's not even drafted yet. There is 0 Blackhawks parents that are in the community other than Vaslav Nestrasil's dad, even Blackhawks fans or dads. Like it's crazy. Maybe Rinzel's parents I've seen a couple times where I've communicated with them, but other than that, yeah, that is true. Jimmy does follow me, and I thought I was like, what? Holy moly! I thought that was sweet. He followed Hattie first, and then he followed me. Shout out Hattie. But yeah, I think Nestor still would be phenomenal here. But
hey,
yeah,
so you're going to the combine, right? You're going to the combine.
Yes.
So maybe push some questions on him regarding the Hawks and maybe how interested they might be.
For sure.
How interested did scouts, like how often were Chicago scouts kind of coming and looking at him, talking to him throughout the season?
He
Do you guys
was
sorry.
very friendly with me. Go ahead.
I was gonna just make a joke. Do you guys just want to give him a Hossa comp already?
He's Marian Hossa. We have a dynasty. He actually has similar upside, not to Marian Hossa, but the 2-way. But he has upside where he could be a star. I'm not joking. Like I'm not trying to say this. Like if you're 6'5" doing what he's doing when you didn't really have that last year, and then just it's an inflection with these guys. They're 17, 18 years old. If there's someone that is drafted between like 25 to 40, it's him with all superstar upside. But that's the last I'll say about him because we got to get this wrapped up. But Suffer, who are you going to take at 26 with the Nashville Predators pick? Their last one of the first.
With the 26th pick, the Nashville Predators are proud to select from the Western Hockey League Calgary Hitmen, Benjamin Kindle. Kindle is by far, I think, the highest IQ player in the bottom half of this first round. Really good playmaker. He exploded this year with Calgary. I thought that was really important. Good to see him just absolutely rack up almost an assist per game. I think that's really cool to do in the WHL. Yeah, overall, I just think he'll fit really well with the Predators, assuming they don't stretch for, who is it, Andreanov. I don't think they'll do that, but maybe, who knows. But I think this is the next best pick for them.
I like it a lot. Not really anything I could say. He's a player. He's 5'10", but he plays bigger.
What I will say, I don't think they had this 4.5 skating. I'm not sure that was quite what they wanted to put down. I think it might have been a mistake. I don't know if too many people are looking at Kindle's skating and thinking below average.
Yeah, I agree. If you're a 4.5 skater under at 5'10", you're not making the NHL, and I can see translatable skills with him. Like you're just not. If you're a bad skater and you don't play very big physically and you're 5'10", it's very hard to make the NHL and especially make an impact unless you're like the greatest shooter and hockey sense of all times. I think that they're a little, I mean, these aren't updated, but yeah, that's a good point Maxwell makes. But for 27, Maxwell, you're up with Washington Capitals.
Okay. I think they're looking at a big center potentially, but there aren't exactly too many great options left. We've heard a lot that like Jack Nesbitt might be pushing into the first round, but that's not where I necessarily want to take this. I am looking at, out of the queue, Bill Zonin, because I believe, first off, I think he's going to go NCAA next year too. Is that confirmed yet? Anyone know?
I don't think it's confirmed, but I think he's definitely going there. Let me see.
Okay. Washington.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Washington, they don't necessarily shy away from players that need to improve their stride, improve their agility. They went with Protoss last year, and they're feeling pretty good about that. I believe that Zonin has actually started spending quite a bit of time at center and doing pretty well at it. So 27, I don't mind taking the swing. And here,
Yeah,
4.0 skating.
Interesting. Yeah, I like Bill Zonin. I got to talk to him for a little bit. Very cool person, very smart. He was like a chess champion back in 4th, 5th grade. So it just kind of shows his strategic intelligence, in my opinion. I think that this guy is just born to play hockey. His Q stats were very similar to Desnoyers as well as Carbonneau. So I think that this is a steal getting him over here. But for 28, who's up? Who are you taking? 28 is Winnipeg, Cowboy.
All right. So not the Winnipeg Jets are very, very proud to select from the United States National Development Team, Cole McKinney. So with the Jets, when I look at a Jets roster, they have a lot of great, well-rounded players, but they don't have that guy that like they touch the puck and you go, like you hold your breath, right? Cole McKinney, if he pans out, he could be that guy. I mean, his skill is next level. Fast guy, 6'2", 200's got good skill. And I really think that if he develops well, he could be a huge player for the Jets team going forward.
I really like that. I think Cole McKinney is somebody that I think he played for the HP Falcons, which shout out Danny. Like, I think that was a Ben Pope article today. So Cole McKinney is somebody that grew up in the Chicagoland area. Forest.
Oh no, that was Riker Lee.
Very rich neighborhoods.
I think it was Cole McKinney, Riker Lee, and Asher Barnett. Three grew up in the Chicagoland area.
Let's find out. Hang on.
On his elite prospects,
it doesn't say
go
that,
back.
then.
But
It
yeah,
says
you're
Chicago.
taking. He's a hometown kid, so I like that he's getting drafted this high. Obviously, it's not to the Blackhawks. I kind of want him to go 34, but he's somebody that fell with William Moore at the USNTDP level. I think he's a good player. He played really well in the back half of the season. I think this is somebody that you'd want on your team. But for 29,
real quick, so Winnipeg, they Chaz Lucius, one of their more important center prospects, had to retire from hockey early due to some muscle something or other. Point being, this kind of makes perfect sense for them right now.
It's a really good point.
And that NTDP team this year made it pretty hard to look good, and he looked good.
But for Carolina, BB, who are you taking here?
All right, at 29, I think I'm going to buy into the stock here. Looking at the world under 18s, I'm taking the leading point scorer from there, Philip Ekberg from the Ottawa 67s.
Wow.
Okay.
I think I'm going to buy. I mean, he was on fire during that tournament outside of the U.S. game. And I think he's going to be someone that rises up draft stocks a lot.
It's worth mentioning that, his whole no one really knew this, but his whole first half of his season, I believe he was injured. And, I mean, you see what he looks like now.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Nick Lourdes in a sense, because Nick Lourdes had his shoulder injury, became an under-the-radar prospect, and now look at him. He's a 70-goal scorer in the OH.
Yeah,
not saying
definitely worked
the same
out.
kind of player, but
hang on. If you guys want to see, if you don't want to see these, it's fine. But remind me, because I keep on missing player cards. Philip Ekberg, there we go.
Yeah, I thought he was very underrated, especially. I mean, I had him as a second rounder the entire year. People had him at third round. Obviously, I don't have him as a first round pick. I think there's just too much talent in the back half. But this would be fantastic to see him go this high. I think Ish Wozniak would probably go higher.
It was between him and Ish Wozniak, who I was going to select here, but I think Ekberg, I think Carolina buys into the hype.
I love it.
Can you guys?
Carolina is always doing
this?
weird stuff.
Philip Ekberg.
Can you hear that?
Yes,
Philip
yes.
Ekberg.
Yeah, I have no idea how that's pronounced.
Philip Ekberg.
Ekberg.
That's hilarious. All right, at 30 for San Jose with their plethora of picks. Obviously, I think that they could package 33 and 30. But I'm going to say they forfeit this pick. No, I'm going to go with a player that we just talked about, Ish Wozniak. I really like his game. I really think that he's a good player that's falling here. Some people don't really have him as high as I do, but I just think that he always has been good. He's always been that point producer. I think that he had a rough season this year. He still played pretty well, in my honest opinion. So I think that the Sharks are going to take him. I think that this is just a Sharks pick, in my opinion.
It's a good one. I keep on having to move him up from, like, I keep on telling myself I have to move him up from 40, and I keep on forgetting. We'll see where he ends. He's higher than 40 for me.
But for 31, who is 31?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not obviously selected yet because we don't know who's going to win the championship. But right now we have Calgary taking it. So who do you think Calgary is going to take here?
Fitting two players here, but I think Sasha Boumedian, BU, had a kind of a weird year. And he had more points at the U18s than he did in 40 games at BU. Obviously, that might be just, I mean, he had 14 points in 7 games. U18s is crazy. I think he set the record for Swedish defenseman there. But yeah, I think he's kind of like Levchinov. I mean, obviously Levchinov is more talented and the upside's higher there, but I feel like this kid kind of bounced through different leagues. And this is a freshman. I think there's a lot of runway there left for him there, and Calgary takes a swing. And yeah, I think he's mobile and he's a long body, good athlete. So I like that fit.
So the other one this is another one where their skating rating is, I think tomorrow when they release their guide, it's going to be a little different. I don't think it's still going to be 4. I think it's going to be a little bit higher.
Interesting. Yeah, a lot's going to change when the combine hits, but
Yep.
Yeah. But CG, who are you taking here at 32 for Philly?
Yeah, I think Philly wants to address their center depth in this draft. I think they go for it again. See Jack Nesbitt going here. I mean, he's a bigger dude. It just screams Philly, someone that's pretty like that. I could see William Moore as well, but I think they need another Russian to keep Michkov happy after withstanding a year of Tortorella. I think here's where we see Ivan Rabkin go off the board. A year ago, you could argue him to be a top 5 pick. He kind of played himself out of that, but there was a reason that he's there, and maybe in a good situation or paired up with someone like Michkov, who the Russian little bit of chemistry they could build might be able to bring him back to what was previously expected from him.
Like you said, he was a player that could have been the top 5 pick. Didn't really play that well with the Lumberjacks, who the Blackhawks got at 25 for Vaslav Nestrasil. But the thing is, Ryabkin does have that higher upside. Obviously, it's more probably top 9 than first line. He had things going on. His stat numbers, sorry, I looked at his profile. He looked like he was staring through me, so it kind of brought me back a little. I don't want to look at him. Yeah, he was putting up numbers like Demidov and Michkov in a junior league, but still, I think that this guy is still a good player, and I think that he's going to work his butt off to make the NHL. We'll see what kind of upside he has. But yeah, I like this pick, CG.
It's a risky one for sure, but I feel like Philadelphia, with how the front office is right now, I think with Tortorella gone as well, they're going to be a little more open to taking some shots. And they had the safe pick earlier, at least in this mock, with Denoye. So I think that gives them a little room to get weird.
I think that with the amount of picks that they have.
I just want to hear it.
Ivan Ryabkin.
Saying these.
Some of them are going to be me. Some of them are elite. A lot of them are elite prospects. A lot of them don't have any.
Was that you?
That was not me. That was people. Very, very few players have their pronunciation in elite prospects right now, but they're trying to add them. So got the link to some of them.
All right, to round out the first round at 32, or that was Ryabkin. So Second City, you have the first pick, and we're only doing until 36. So who is San Jose's 33rd pick?
Okay, so with this pick, I was kind of looking at who we've had them take in this mock. So obviously they've taken Misa and Wozniak. I was thinking about going for Sasha, the defenseman, but obviously he's been taken. I'm just going to go with Jack Nesbitt with this pick from the Windsor Spitfires. I think he improved quite a bit if you look at his stats from last year compared to this year. He had a pretty good playoff run with them too. I love his size. Honestly, I would really like for the Hawks to take this player, either at 25 or if he slips to 34. But yeah, I like his game quite a bit.
Nice.
Yeah, Jack Nesbitt is 6'4". He's big. I like this pick. I think it's a safe, no-nonsense kind of pick. So at 33, I think we had Hattie here. Who wants to take Hattie's last pick? Was it Cowboy? Did you want to still take this?
Mac at 34.
It was Hattie. I think I'll take the pick.
Take it.
Right, Cowboy, you fine with that?
So who's taking it?
BB98's taking it.
All right.
All right, and I think with this position, we've seen a lot of forwards out of the last couple of classes, especially taken in the higher rounds. Guys like Boisvert, Van Acker, Moore, obviously Bedard. So I think here is not really a position in need, but I think he's one of the best players available on the board. I'm going to take Carter Amico. He just sounds like a Kyle Davidson pick, and I think Amico with his big reach, he's got good skating ability for being 6'5", and I know that Kyle Davidson's going to be all over that. And obviously there's not really a lot of right-handed defenseman prospect depth outside of Levshunov and Renzel. So I think Carter Amico here makes a lot of sense for the Hawks, and I feel like I'm falling in love with this game more and more.
I
That's
like
a
this
good
pick.
one.
I would be happy as a Blackhawks fan if we got him at 34.
He's been in my first round for a good bit of the year, even with the injury.
Yeah,
Yeah,
League from
it's-
New Wave Hockey
Hang on.
mocked him at 16, and the Bunker Boys Rocco gave him such a hard time. He still does. I mean, you can't teach size, and you can't teach his mobility is actually pretty good too. I think the 5.0 is a little low too. Obviously, he's a very physical player. You need that. I think that he would be a fantastic fit. Obviously, if Nestorsil is there or Ivan Ryabkin is there, I think you would take upside there. But when all of those guys are off the board, I think he's very sensible to take. So that's a really great pick.
Yeah,
Next year with Sasha Boisvert and Jack Pridham at BU. NCAA prospects, give me all of them, please.
Yeah, completely
and
agree.
like with the if I was gonna make the pick, I was Amico was circled to my board too. Like he was my pick there. You just can't pass that up, especially with our decor. His physicality would like just round it out perfectly.
I would have
And I think
taken
another thing with
Gavin McKenna, but just ran up to the podium like the Panthers do that a couple with Ovechkin.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
with
yeah,
every
like
pick.
6 times in one draft.
Okay, so since this is a Hawks thing, should we talk about alternatives at 25, alternatives at 34, for a moment?
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
clip. Yeah, we
Absolutely.
could definitely do that.
Yeah.
100%.
So someone mentioned Nesbitt at 25 potentially that they were wondering
Yeah,
about
that was me.
Okay. Now he's been talked about as a first rounder, and it's something we don't really have. And his skating's improved since year over year. Maybe it can continue to improve.
Yeah, I also think because I'm in the camp of I really do not want Desnoyers at 3. So if you take Nesbitt there, that's kind of a center who could potentially maybe be a second liner
Right.
if
For
you're
sure.
lucky. But I think he would be like a good player who could play up and down the lineup regardless, even if he isn't like naturally fitting in the top 6.
Yeah.
I like Riker,
Good shout. I like that one.
Yeah, Riker Lee's good.
Chicago boy.
Sure. I think that would actually be a
I
really
don't
good
know.
pick.
The skating
Yeah, I don't know
questions.
about with this pick necessarily. I think we'd see this maybe later. I already mentioned Andreyanov. I'd like him. Where is he? I'm trying to find. Mason West. I think could be, and
Yeah.
again, I think it might be a little bit of a reach at 34,
We'll
but
see.
kind of like AJ Spellacy, football player, chose hockey. He's 6'6". He's an athlete. I think that's just something that Al Davidson likes to take upside on. Some sort of that with the second, third round picks, and we've seen him kind of hit on that in the past. So
Yeah, and yeah.
I agree.
What about Alex Zhuravsky?
Yeah. 6'1". There's the other Russian too that's in this range.
I've heard a lot of love for this guy.
ZH is how it's spelled.
oh yeah, I've seen him too. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if this is true. Surely he played more games than that.
No, yeah, he played a lot more. That's not updated. Alexander
I can look real quick.
Zurovsky played 45 games, 24 goals, 26 assists, and 50 points in the
Yeah,
MHL.
Yep.
That sounds a lot better for prospect than 0 games, 0 goals, 0 assists.
And I mean, it just
And
kind of shows you
Yeah.
what kind of increase he had going there too. And that says only in the postseason, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think he played KHL games too. No,
Is
Or
that
I
what-
thought he did?
I can't see his
He
KHL
played
games.
he played his playoff games in the KHL. He had 1 assist in 7 games.
Okay, so that's what that's referring to.
Oh, I see. It's calling on NHL games, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
this guy is actually really good. I think that he will probably be drafted somewhere in the 33 to 45 range, just because players like his profile always get picked before. I think another player like Luca Romano, who the Blackhawks have seen a lot with Jack Pridham this season for Kitchener, is also somebody. Victor Klingsell. I could see Matthew Gard, Ben Kavan, Kevin. They're just kind of these guys. Jack Ivankovic, Charlie Trethway.
Do
Just a lot
the
of
do
good
the
names.
Blackhawks go goalie again though? Because we have Guyon and we have Comesso and we got Knight, and those guys are all pretty young. So do we go goalie again or?
It's
So-
however you
think
see
so.
Guy on, in my opinion.
Oh, that guy on.
So
Yeah.
Donahue, our scouting director, he's talked before, one, about the idea of, regardless of your goalie situation, trying to continuously stock it. He's literally mentioned every 2 years that
Yep.
they kind of want to get a goalie into the system. The other thing he mentioned last draft was specifically that they saw this draft as having a better goalie pool, so they definitely targeting a goalie this year.
Yeah, they're
Well,
taking
yeah,
a goalie this year. It's just if early pick or not.
I mean, maybe Knight changes it, but I doubt it. If I had to guess, I'd say goalie in like maybe the third round. Nab whoever you like who happens to drop. What I will say
I
is,
think we could see Andreyanov in that third round spot. That might
Yeah,
be a
don't
little
get
bit
it
of a
so
fall
far.
for
That's
it.
exactly what I was thinking. At 66,
Yep.
or 65. Oh, 66. You could take him. You could take Love or Louvre.
Lou Heron, whatever his name is. I've got my eyes on Frolov.
A lot of people have.
And
He's also one.
last thing I want to say, I think we're more likely to take our first three picks go on forwards. I don't know what you guys think. I think it's going to be 3 forwards rather than.
I actually agree.
I agree. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind having another D-man sprinkled in.
Yeah,
I mean,
not at all.
What about Cullen Potter? I feel like he's like
Gonna be
Oliver
interesting.
Moore, but like downgraded.
Yeah.
Back to the
Yeah.
when Mike was
Great
muted,
skater.
but when you look at the Blackhawks decor, it's pretty much filled. Like the
It's
future
already
is there. Like you
pouring
could
out.
take a guy later, but the forward is like it's almost empty pretty much. Like there's a lot of question marks and a lot of prospects in the forward core.
It really depends what they think about Korchinski at this point,
yeah.
honestly.
I'm also
Sorry.
interested to see what they do with Kaiser in his RFA contract coming up, especially with the logjam at left defense.
Yeah.
There's a decent chance that his value will never be higher than right now, for the record. Just
Yeah.
worth thinking about. I want
Krivy is
Krivy
right
to-
shot though.
I want him to stay in the system. He's a little
Yeah,
different than
same.
all the other options. We don't really have too many really physical defensemen.
No,
Like-
Crivier, like I saw Crivier live 2 years ago in Dallas, and it was like a breath of fresh air. Like on the defensive, like they weren't playing physical at all, but he was out there. He was laying the body. He was playing aggressive. He was very aggressive. I really like his game.
Hey,
I
rock
think like
Tom
third
Wilson.
line, like you're looking like I don't know if you guys remember like he reminds me like a more aggressive like Michael Rosewall. Like just he's out there, he sees red.
Who did
Scary.
he lay? Sorry, who did he lay out this year?
Tom
Was-
Wilson.
I
Yeah,
was at that game. I was at that game. The UC erupted. It was awesome. Yeah, the third period comeback.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think that concludes our Blackhawks segment. For
Mhm.
Suffer at 35, who do you think Nashville will take?
At 35th overall, the Nashville Predators are proud to select from Arizona State University, Colin Potter. I think Colin Potter is truly a steal at this spot. If I'm being honest, I think the Blackhawks should consider him at 34. Do not get deceived by the slightly underwhelming stats. This kid can really skate. He's got a nice two-way game. And something that I thought was really interesting about him is he just turned 18 in January. Having, what is that? I'm bad at math. Having like that 5 months of being a younger freshman, I think is interesting. Lefty, 5'10", 172 pounds. I think a couple extra years at Arizona State in the NCAA, as he moves up that depth chart at ASU, he's going to really start rounding out his game. He's going to start racking up more points. He's going to start showing off that shot that he has. I think he's really underrated.
Yeah, one of the best skaters in the entire class. I think that he showed it at NCAA level. He's playing against 22, 25-year-old men, and he was a lot better than I would imagined. I think that he would be fantastic for the Blackhawks if we do go there, like DK said. But yeah, and to close out this draft at 36, who are you taking, Maxwell, for Philadelphia?
Oh, right, that's me. Sorry, I got to do multiple things at the same time. I can't set up my picks. So, Philadelphia on the clock. We've mentioned him. Actually, I'm going to bring up Alexander Zhuravsky first. Let's see. Which one of these guys was the 6'5"? Daniil Prokhorov. So I think someone's going to be considering this guy this high. But I think we're going to go with a guy who we've mentioned before, Mason West.
You really?
What was that?
I said, did he really fall that far?
West.
I didn't know he
Totally
was
see
on the
West
board.
falling this far.
So, reminder, he just announced that he's choosing hockey over football, and that's going to move him up quite a bit for a lot of teams. In this draft, you can kind of justify these sorts of swings a little earlier than others. And look, Philadelphia's already made 3 picks in this draft. I think they're feeling pretty good and they're ready to take a big swing. What do they need? They need high ceiling centers, and you get that in West. Here, let's bring up his card. I don't think he's going to have attributes, but great skating for his size. The skating is one of the things to point out. Very fluid, pretty great agility, and he's just coordinated for being 6'5" 3/4. You don't always see these big guys look coordinated.
Yeah, I don't think like a lot of people are talking about Mason West. I know the podcast that I've been on and Blue Chip Prospect and I and NHL Draft Pros, and we all talk about Mason West because it's really interesting when a player has this much upside and like you said, like 6'5", almost 6'6" center with right-handed centers. I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen this because you have Roger McQueen and Mason West this year, and then he's the more physical, brings the punch too. I mean, he played football. This guy is tough. He was a 3-star NFL or football recruit. The NIL money is a lot more. Even if he's a 5-star in hockey or 4, whatever it is, it's a lot less money. So you need to love hockey. And I feel like when he picked hockey, it meant that he loved it. This guy is going to be a very good player. I think like '07, I can't even believe he's in this class too. Like he is a young player in this class.
Yeah.
So I would like the Blackhawks to take him at 34. I could totally see a scenario where he is here at 40. Maybe even this could be his cutoff with Philadelphia. But yeah, Mason West is next up in my opinion. So this concludes our mock draft. It was awesome having everybody on. You can see that it was, Schaefer, Misa, Martone, and then the rest. Blackhawks got a haul too. So thank you guys all for coming on. It was awesome to talk to you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks for having us,
Good
Don. That was
time.
awesome.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you so
Oh,
much.
great.
For sure. And follow all
Next
of these
time.
guys at their socials. I'm going to link in the description. They're
What a
fun to
guy.
talk to. A
That'll
lot
be
of
a
them
plug.
are, plugs. If you guys want to talk about anything or plug anything like hot ones, go ahead.
I'm working on a pretty big project this summer. I got a lot more free time. So I'm doing if you guys like the Blackhawks, if you like the dynasty years, that's all I'm going to say for now. If you follow me on socials, I'm bringing up '09 in my next video. It should have been out by now, but in the editing, the audio got very, very corrupted. So just keep an eye out for that. I'm on YouTube and X at Blackhawk Cowboy. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, I think this concludes our mock draft. Thanks everybody again for coming on.